Hey, everybody, we are live here. It's Anthony Melchior and myself, Glenn Hausman, for Feel Good Friday. I think we've had enough of the BS all week long, and we want you guys out there to have a little positive energy out there. I'm washing my hands, bro. Are you guys out there washing your hands? You making sure you're staying safe? We got Larry Broughton here. We got parts of Anthony, Air Force Strong over there. Anthony, how you doing, my friend? How you doing, buddy? No sad faces around here on Fridays.
Well, the reason I'm wearing my Air Force shirt is because there's a man that we're going to talk to, Larry, who apparently is a Green Beret, so I'm trying to intimidate him.
Yeah, easily intimidated.
The greatest thing he's ever faced is dealing with the bald guy from Queens.
Hey, Glenn, I don't know if you ever saw that image. There was an image circling around the internet there for a while of Anthony and I standing next to each other on his show, Hotel Impossible.
Right.
And there's a couple of them, actually. And in comparison, it looks like Schwarzenegger and DeVito standing next to each other.
Well, what I want everybody to know is for the camera, I wanted to stand on the box because I look like a midget. But then I said, make sure you show the box and you put it on the internet and tell all your friends that I did it not to look like a midget. So he wouldn't have the last laugh on me and say, look at this guy. He's
got to get in front of it. You got to get in front of it.
So in the spirit of feeling good, I put this up on Facebook a little while ago, but Delta Airlines is really hooking me up big time. I am getting first class upgrades for so many flights right now, days and days in advance. Only problem is I already canceled all those flights, but at least I'm getting some of the love from those guys.
You know, if I can kind of start. We're doing this, and specifically we asked Larry to do it because Larry's a hotelier. He's a leader in this industry. He's helping everyone through this industry, but he's also not only a martial artist, but he was a Green Beret. And so, Larry, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, you don't have to go into detail, but give me an incident in your life when you were in the military that when stuff hit the fan, and I may even curse on this and say shit, hit the fan. What did you do? How did you handle yourself? And what was your mindset?
That's a lot, by the way. And I don't know if I can point to one circumstance, but I will tell you this, that mindset is what's going to get all of us through this. And a little bit of preparedness, right? One of the mantras that I remember hearing years ago had to do with the team that's around you. For some reason, when the shit hits the fan, I am going to swear, we tend to isolate. Right. We squirrel up. When those are actually the times that we need to be leaning into our friends and to our the people that are in the industry with us. So it's a sign that was on our team room wall that said, individuals play the game, but it's teams that beat the odds. And what I'm really most grateful for, one of the things I'm most grateful for right now, obviously besides my family and friends and loved ones like you guys who are kind of all reaching out to each other, is that I'm seeing more and more folks in this industry who are once considered competitors moving into collaborators. I intentionally got on the phone, I don't know when it was, all the days are blurring together. It was early this week and called about 6 hotel company CEOs that I knew. And we just shared best practices. We're not talking about rate strategies. There's no rate strategies to be talking about. So there's no illusion.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
There's no,
because people are asking me. People ask me that. I'm like, okay, why don't you put a 2-day minimum on a weekend? See how that works. For
exactly. There's no rate strategy.
Hey, I was going to say, the good news is about this is I detest those resort fees. I have a feeling some of them might be going away for a while.
Well, we're going to see the whole industry change. But here's the thing, Anthony, and I think it's a great question, is that when it comes to mindset, we have to, in the frickin', when the rounds are coming down range, we still have to maintain some semblance of positivity about us. And I remind my team member this all the time. You can't light a fire with a wet match. If we walk around as leaders, dour and pessimistic and woe is me, guess what? Our team members are going to feel the same way. But conversely, on the other side, and I don't want to keep going here too much, but reality is indeed our friend. It is. We have to realize that we're in a tough spot, and so we can't walk around kind of sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows every day either, right? But this is a time where we tell each other, hey, this good attitude, a good attitude is not going to guarantee victory. We're going to see people who have very positive attitudes during this time, and they're going to lose their businesses. They're going to lose their hotels. They're going to lose their jobs. But it's not going to guarantee victory, but a bad one will absolutely guarantee defeat. We have to pull together right now.
Right. And I absolutely see us pulling together, right, Anthony?
Mindset, and that's why we had you on, is because mindset is everything. When I learned in the military, I worked for the direct leadership of West Point. I worked for the gentleman in charge of nuclear assurance for Europe. I worked for some serious leaders, and I saw when crap hit the fan and nuclear weapons were arming themselves or the bad guys were coming, these gentlemen looked like they were going to go to lunch. Okay,
cool.
And I remember when Schwarzkopf, when in 1990, when our military went in, they said, "Where are you going now?" He goes, "I'm going to sleep because I did all my preparation. I'm going to go relax. I'm going to go to sleep. My team's got it." And we don't want to say people aren't suffering. We're all suffering, all three of us. Not one of us on this call didn't get hit. I was dealing with things this morning. Okay, 4 or 5 things. That's why we had to extend till 2 o'clock. Personal things that had nothing to do with what we're going through Corona, but I have personal things that I had to deal with, and we're all going to still have to live our lives, still go through those personal things that come up, and deal with our new reality. And I love what you said. When you accept your new reality, guess what?
Yeah.
There's nothing else to worry about because this is your reality. Now you're dealing with it. You know, when I'm spraying handles or wearing gloves or doing those kind of things, it's like I told my daughters, I said, I'm sorry I have to do this, and I'm disappointed I have to do this, but this is our new reality. Let's not live our head in the sand, but let's be positive. And I just had somebody on LinkedIn send me a DM, and she's followed me for a long time, and she said, I'm employed right now, whatever you need, whenever you need it. If there's a hotel hurting, I can get on the phone call probably late at night and help them through it. This is a person I've never had a conversation with outside of DMs. So that's what it's about. And you have no choice but to keep your composure because everyone's a boss watcher. Right. Everyone is watching you. With that said, it's okay to go break down. It's okay. Maybe, Larry, I'm going to call you tomorrow and maybe I'll cry. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'll break down. Okay. That's not my personality, but maybe it will because things are tough for everyone. Maybe you'll call me. Maybe Glenn will call me. It's people have to understand.
I will not be calling you.
Well, you know, there's so much that's loaded in that. It was really good, Anthony, and you used the word preparation, which I think is really important. And another thing I just want to remind people about this mindset thing is gratitude. So 2 things I wanted to touch on. You know, each of us, when we are doing our daily roles in the properties, we were doing morning stand-ups, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that many of our managers do, and we do it on all of our video calls, because we're all doing just like what you guys are doing. We're doing all of our video calls. And I just got off one earlier with all of our general managers, and we all went around before we did anything else and said, hey, here's what I'm grateful for. Before anything else, we did that. Now, it pertains to preparation that Schwarzkopf talked about. The truth is this, right? These are times when we ought to be learning. Hopefully, we learned a lot of stuff up to today, but it's not too late. It's not too late. We ought, if we can face reality and learn stuff today, it's learning that fuels preparation, right? Learning fuels preparation. Preparation is what fuels courage, and courage just changes only everything, right? And so it's preparation right now. Like think about a basketball team or any team. Preparation is practice. If you've ever been on a sporting team and haven't practiced, you've skipped practices, and then you got to go compete, you're a lot more frightened and fearful than you are when you've practiced, you busted your hump, you put in the extra hours, right? You practice the free throws and you feel prepared. Courage comes from that, right? So now is the time to learn, prepare, and courage will be the byproduct of it.
And we were talking about this the other day. I get up a little bit earlier, more than usual, just to prepare myself. Simple things, like if my daughter goes for a piece of American cheese, I want it to be there. And if it's not, I want it to be in my backup refrigerator. A little thing like that to make everybody comfortable. I want to be prepared. Yeah. My business partners, unfortunately, some of our business partners had to cut their contracts. We are doing things for them regardless.
Yes.
Okay. And that's where we all have to help each other. But I can't do that if I don't feel prepared. I can't reach out and help you and hug you and say, hey, everything's gonna be okay, if I am not prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point.
So how do we then, how do we get prepared? I'm very fortunate. I've got good chemical programming, right? I'm pretty much an optimistic dude. When shit gets really bad, I I do what everybody else does, but I inherently bounce back quick. But not all of us have that ineffable ability to do that. Larry, I'm sure you're one of those types of people. How do people keep positive and keep going forward when it feels much harder for their journey than yours or my journey, for example?
You're so right. Everyone is absolutely different, but I think that for folks like you and me, who it comes a little bit more part of our DNA, then we have a moral obligation to reach out to those people that aren't, take them by the hand. When I speak to veteran communities, because as Anthony had said, I was in special forces, so I speak to a lot of vets. I say, hey, if you see people that are isolating, you kick the door in and you grab them by the hand and you get some sunshine on their face. But we have to surround ourselves with people who are bolder and brighter than we are and more optimistic than we are. I'm not the most optimistic person in my life. I mean, left to my own devices, I'd go out and throat punch people all the time. I could talk myself off the ledge half the time, right? But you have to surround yourself with people. And so how do you prepare yourself? Well, here's the great thing. We're all pivoting. 2 weeks ago, you guys had no idea that you were going to see the spike in traffic and the amazing guests that you've had on your show.
Right.
We are all looking for information right now, but it's going to take hard work. If you are afraid of hard work, you will be in the same spot or worse spot a month from now than you are today. It does require the extra effort. I'm sleeping fewer hours. I'm up at between 4 and 5 every day, getting up to speed on things. Jim Schichter, who's our chief operating officer, and Robert Rycroft, who is our CFO, we are working around the clock, dealing with clients and team members and being the cheerleader and being the resource. Well, we can do that because we're working the extra hours to get information out there, right? We're scouring the internet. We're talking to people who are smarter than we are. And then what we've done, we've become is just information aggregators.
Right.
We're just passing the information on. And that's what you guys are doing. I want to say publicly how thankful I am for you two for continuing to do this, because everyone's talking about, hey, have you seen Anthony and Glenn's show today?
Thank you.
It's really, it's important. It's going to be interesting to see where things go here in the next few months. Thanks for being the leaders here. I appreciate it.
We appreciate that.
And so since we're being grateful, I'm going to be grateful here for a second, because I think that's what it's about. When I first got in touch with Glenn, or Glenn got in touch with me through me being on TV.
Well, who made the connection?
He made the connection with me.
Glenn?
Oh, you made the connection.
I made the connection for you too. Glenn, I said to you, you need to get in touch with Glenn. Glenn said to me, hey, can you put me in touch with Anthony Melchiori? Is that right, Glenn Hausman?
I believe so. I tried myself, but I didn't want to have anything to do with this little guy over here.
But you know what, Larry? I did not realize that, and I'm forever grateful, because that's a great point. He wanted to reach out to me. Maybe I was too busy. Yeah. And when it came through you, I was like, hey, all right, I'll give this guy a call. We'll work together. Then I went to him. So I'm on TV, getting a lot of exposure. Yeah. And he was like, hey, let's do a podcast and help leverage my business with your business to get more exposure. I wanted to learn the people he knew. He wanted to learn the people I knew. Right. But I went to him saying, hey, I'm going to learn this new business. Now, because of him, I'm back on TV. Because of him, I'm back and I have a connection. He has taught me how to do this. He has taught me how to prepare for this. And so I went in to try to help him and maybe learn about podcasting. And now I need Glenn, and Glenn needs me. And
I definitely need you. That's for sure. My wife is calling. My wife knows I'm online live, but yet she calls me anyway. Just so everybody knows, New York is going into lockdown mode, so she knew I was doing this live broadcast and volunteered to head to the supermarket to get the last remaining items were there before everyone goes to the supermarket. Still. I know, but dude, you know how it goes. They're going to hear lockdown, and all of a sudden everybody's going to be like, oh my God, there's going to be nothing left. We got to get some stuff. So
Larry,
we got to go get some
you
stuff.
Just said something. You just used a word, a great word. Okay. 5 letters, starts with a P, ends with a C, panic.
Mm-hmm. Talk
about that. Talk about what happens if you're on the front lines and your soldier panics. One of the things that I'm reminded of, I think it was a Sunday night, when our troops went in with 23 guys, took out, one of the leaders of our enemies, and we're at Taco Bell the next day. Yeah. What does it feel like to go to enemy territory at 2:00 in the morning with no backup, and go in there and compose yourself and not panic? I think panic is a really good word for you to kind of define and explain.
Well, panic comes from lack of preparedness. People who are what they call preppers, who have been seeing this coming for a long time, are not panicking. They have their stockpile of goods that they need, right? And so it's the same thing in business. When you haven't done the preparation, the prepping, it might be financial prepping, it might be contact prepping, it might be doing the disaster scenarios that we all should have been doing all along. That's where panic comes from. But I'm not blaming people who panic. I hate to say it, but it's not their fault. It's not. It's a societal fault. We have coddled each other for so freaking long. I was having this conversation again with my son yesterday. We talk about a lot of stuff. He's 16 years old and he's very aware of what's going on around him. And I think that people were. I've been hearing this more and more, and I talk about it all the time, but it has to do with the World War II generation. What do they call that generation, my friends?
The greatest generation.
Right. And oftentimes what they talk about is that these people went off to war, fought these battles across the world to save the world against tyranny. But what they forget to talk about is that those men and women who sacrificed during that war effort were the products of the Great Depression. From 29 to 33, where productivity in this country dropped by almost 50%. The GDP dropped by 30%. Unemployment was north of 20%. These people had nothing. They were rationing. So these kids, young men and women who went off to fight, their childhood was already very tough. Glenn, you've heard me say this before. One of my favorite sayings is, again, I just keep going back to my Special Forces days because that's kind of what molded me into the leader that I am. There was a saying I heard 30 some years ago that went something like, tough times create tough men. Tough men create easy times. Right. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. We are in a tough time right now. And for several years, I've been hearing people badmouth the younger generation, right? How they're selfish and they've got this entitlement mentality. Maybe some of that's true, but
I disagree completely. Just ask any of the kids on the beach at spring break now that question.
All right. But you know what? Every generation has had idiots like that.
I was one. I fully admit I was one. I don't want to blame them and not take blame myself.
Exactly. But I am so optimistic now that this younger generation is going through this. This is the sixth silver lining that we're in.
Right.
When the three of us are sitting on the porch in our rocking chair, in our Depends diapers, the people who will be leading the country will be the kids that are going through this tough time right now.
Well, they better figure it out quick because that's my plan for right after the show.
And that's a good, that's really important. My daughter actually said, Dad, this is really make me appreciate what I have. And, obviously she doesn't like this. Nobody does, but she goes, I'm starting to see things. And also one of the things, I've been a defender of the younger generation as well, because I felt that they got a bad rap because every generation's got their thing. Every generation, I see a lot more 40 and 50-year-olds being inconsiderate and talking online on their phone or not giving that young employee their time and their effort. One of the greatest moments I had was right before everything closed in Vegas when I was with Glenn and I was interviewing a young lady at MGM. And then I did a video about it and posted it. And I fell in love with this woman in 2 minutes. She was a housekeeper that became a supervisor, became a manager, and she basically would have killed for everybody that she worked with. Yeah. So I don't care how old you are. I don't care what background you're from. If you have it, now's the time to use it. And if you don't, go to someone that does have it. Because I think you're right. Panic is okay, but make sure you're getting help for it. I reach out to you. I'll reach out to Glenn. I'll reach out to the sources I feel safe in. And that's another thing. There's some people in my life I have reached out to, and they've disappointed me. Not now, but in other situations in my life, and they've disappointed me. I won't go back to them, but I will go back to people that have stepped up and that I feel I can trust. So I think trust right now is a key ingredient. Great point. But I also want to say, with all this positive talk, with all this realistic talk, that this is a problem, and we will get through it. Yeah. Our government, our military, our National Guard, our leaders like you, Larry, will get us through. We will get through this, 100%. We've got to look at it, but don't look at, well, can I leave my house tomorrow? Glenn, can I see your shirt? Wash your hands. Can I leave my house next week? Can I go on a vacation in 10 days? Right. Stop thinking that way. Stop thinking about how you can get through today, enjoy today, and take care of your family today, because people are watching you.
Right.
One of the things, listen, I'm not always Mr. Upbeat, positive. I have to remind myself every single day on my phone. I have a list of affirmations that I have to tell myself, sometimes multiple times a day. And number one ties into what you were just talking about, Anthony. I value my future self and circumstances more than my current self and circumstances. I'm willing to do the hard work today, knowing that it's going to help me, my team, my family in the future.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again a little slower so people can write this down? I think that is so important.
I value my future self and circumstance more than my current self and circumstance. All right, so what does that mean? I don't want to go to the gym because it hurts, or I don't want to make that extra sales call because I don't want to get declined again. I don't want to study a little bit more, whatever it is. If I just think about me today, my current circumstance, I'd sit on the sofa and eat ice cream all day.
Right.
But I know that if I have a little, here's the thing, we societally have gotten soft and accepted that, or thought that sacrifice is bad. No, sacrifice is really, really good. Sacrifice is a good thing, right? And sacrifice is doing things that make us uncomfortable sometimes, right?
I had a young man call me, and he was whining. He DM'd me. I said, all right, call me. So he calls me up, and he was whining. And I said, I'll call you right back. I let him take a breath. I called him back and go, put a rock in your shoe. And I hung up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do for a week. Put a small pebble in your shoe for a week.
Perfect.
He didn't call me back for 3 weeks. And then he DM'd me, actually. And this is all he said. He said, message received. Okay? Be uncomfortable. And one of the things I want to kind of go back to what you were saying in generations. Look at this, what's happening, right? The internet, Facebook, Amazon, all the things that we blame the younger generation for being too convenient and being too soft are saving us right now.
Right.
And I guarantee you there's 50-year-old people, okay, going to 20-year-olds and saying, how do I get into Google Hangout? How do I do this? How do I go online? I guarantee you there's a lot of young people helping a lot of old people, probably through the computer, and there's probably a lot of frustration. And that's another thing that I want to talk about. It's like, I see frustration, even in my own house.
Sure.
You got to let them be frustrated, and you also got to let them not. I think I saw something on the internet the other day that I opened my eyes. This is not a time to only just be productive and write that big play or that musical or that hit song. This is a time to maybe just read a good book, maybe learn yoga, maybe learn the guitar, maybe just sit in the corner an hour a day and go like this.
Yeah.
Whatever it needs to do to make yourself feel good. But if you're trying to save your business, you have to take time for yourself, but you're going to work 23 hours a day. But if you're a kid and you're in college, parents shouldn't be say, well, why don't you do this? Why are you just sitting and doing this? We need to make everybody step up, but we also have to have patience.
I've got a couple of questions I'd love to throw in here. And just so you know, guys that are watching this, coming up on the half hour, we got Bruce Ford from Logic Econometrics coming in to help us find great things to do in our downtime. So how incredible of an overlap is that? Completely unprepared for what Anthony brought up. But people want to know, Jean-Philippe Krukowitz, who's the CEO of Garnier, Diebo, is worried about what's going to happen. It's going to be like probably 3-week shutdown or more. And then Matt Ward wants to know, how does the team believe that we should prepare over the next few days, weeks, months? What are some real tangible elements that they could be doing? I guess some of the things that you might be thinking about, Larry, in order to move forward. And if you can, try to keep it on the positive side, because I don't want to interrupt the Feel Good Friday vibes, even though they're asking non-feel good questions.
I'm not sure I completely understand, like, how do we prepare for like what's really bad?
Maybe a little bit on business and a little bit on how you're handling things on the personal side as well.
All right. Okay, good. Well, I think the best thing that we can do as leaders is to state reality as we see it. But we've got a former president who won the last election based on hope. Hope is a powerful thing. When we lose hope, life ends for a lot of us. And so we have to talk about what is our plan. So every meeting that I've been having, and it seems to be working, is to state, here's the reality right now. Here's what's happening in the industry, and here's our plan to face it. People need a plan. If you are on this call, you're a leader in the industry. You are. Most people who are followers aren't hopping on your call, guys. I'm sorry. They may not have a formal leadership title, which is a bunch of crap anyway. We all should be leaders. You need to have a plan. Even my son, I keep going to my son because guess what? I'm spending more time with my son right now than I have in a long time. What did we do in the military when we went into isolation? Before a mission, before a training exercise, we would go into quarantine, basically. Anthony will know this. You do a POD, a plan of the day. Every single day, we had a plan of the day. We're getting up at, sorry about that. We're getting up at this time. We're eating breakfast at this time. This is the time that we exercise. This is the time we do our schoolwork. This is the time that we're talking to our friends on the phone. This is the time we're taking breaks. This is the time we're going to bed. We have a plan of the day. So I would encourage everybody, even if you're working from home, and I've encouraged this to all of our team members, just because you're working from home, if you are still working, you're working. Act as if. Shower, brush your face or brush your hair, comb your teeth, whatever you do to get ready. And I dress like this even when I'm home. Why? Because I want to act as if. I'm not suggesting everybody have to do that. Yes, you can wear your pajamas and be productive, but that's what I'm doing. One of you had said this earlier. Yeah. So I'm also going out and I'm going for walks with my dog. I really am. This sounds so corny and cliche, but it's true. I'm actually looking at the sunset. When I'm walking my dog, I'm looking at the mountains. I'm looking at how beautiful things are. I am so much more appreciative today, even though I'm working more than I literally ever have. And there are moments of fear that creep into my heart and soul more than they have in decades. But I'm still taking the time to do my morning routine. Every morning when I get up, I do my morning routine to get my mind right.
Right.
And my spirit right. And then I go on and take on the day. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
And I think routine probably helps you provide that stability as well that you need in order to keep everything in focus.
Well, you have to. So
right.
I'm going to just preach for 30 seconds here. Mm-hmm. If you are a leader and you are not doing a morning routine, you are wrong. You will find your productivity skyrocket. So what do I mean by a morning routine? It means that I'll tell you what I do. I get up, get very graphic for a second. I go to the bathroom. I am that age. I get up, I go to the bathroom. I make my morning smoothie. I then sit down for a minimum of 7 minutes. I've got some readings that I do from Emmett Fox and from the Daily Stoic. I do some prayer and meditation. I do my affirmations. Here's how I'm going to face the day. I do all of that before I get onto the internet, before I check email, before I check social media. And I remind myself, here's what I'm grateful for. And I'm going to be looking for little miracles today. That puts me in the right framework. So I have a smile on my face, because when you smile, guess what happens?
Right.
Endorphins kick in. Endorphins are a natural pain reliever. Okay. And so if I go through the day with smiles and I'm looking for the little miracles, how can I help people out? Well, guess what? The world rewards me for that.
But Larry, how do you?
Did you say but? But usually means you're going to negate what I just said.
No, absolutely not. 100% not. Okay. Just the opposite.
Okay.
I'll start differently. What happens when you're not born the way you're born, the way I'm born, the way Glenn's like? What?
I'm not born this way.
No, and that's exactly what I'm getting.
But Lady Gaga was, just for the record.
Okay.
Brian Newman, if you're listening, I miss you, brother. Lady Gaga's band leader. But that's what I want to tell everyone.
I'm not.
You're not born this way. I'll tell you a story since you're telling a story. I went to sleep last night, maybe 10 o'clock. I fell asleep. I fell out. About 2 o'clock, I woke up. Okay. And I slept well. I looked at 2 o'clock and I started reading some stuff. And I started to feel really like, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Then I started laughing. I started to laugh because I just said to myself, change your mindset. I changed my mindset and I started to laugh. And you know why I started to laugh? I said, because we feed off of challenges. I feed off of challenges. Some of the greatest challenges of my life. have been something that I was in great despair about in a lot of ways. And this is another challenge. And I just said, dude, you talk about mindset all the time. You talk about your personal brand, and you're getting and you're starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah.
And I basically slapped myself in the head, literally physically, and went back to bed. And woke up this morning, and I couldn't wait to call my friend who's wearing his shirt, "Wash your hands, bro," and couldn't wait to talk to you. And sometimes in affirmation, sometimes I walk on the beach. I opened my pool a week ago. Okay, it's 30 degrees in New York City, 40 degrees, 50 degrees last week. I opened my pool because I knew my kids would be home, and I heated it so it's 80 degrees, and they can go in the pool.
Yeah.
And that was something that makes me happy, that I know that we can go out there as a family and go in the pool. Change my mindset. And sometimes you have to do it for yourself, and sometimes you have to do it instantly.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll also say is, and maybe you can help me with this. I know you're not going to believe this, but I'm pretty intense. So one of the things that you do, I wish they could have seen me getting ready for this. You guys were laughing at me, but like when you were on my set and we spent time together, and we went for that great steak dinner in California. Remember that?
Yeah.
You're always unflappable. So now again, you take care of yourself, so you are unflappable. But give me a little bit of advice, because I don't feel like I'm like panicking at all. I'm just intense. I just take care of shit really quick. And I'm like, hey, let's do this and let's do that with a smile on my face. But it's off-putting to some people. Give me some advice there, brother.
I don't know if I've got specific advice for you, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea either. And I don't try to please everybody anymore. But I will tell you this: I am not naturally positive, upbeat, optimistic. I tend to be a dour, pessimistic, not like people, very suspicious of people kind of person. But I realized over the years that does not get me anywhere at all. People do not want to be around people like me when I've left my own devices. And how do you get out of that? Well, it's through discipline, right? Discipline really is the big thing. Listen, we don't discipline our children anymore. We don't allow anybody to discipline our children anymore. We don't hold ourselves accountable.
My children will disagree with that.
Well, yeah, your children probably will. But I'm just saying the royal we, as my executive assistant
I
likes to say.
I understand.
We generally don't. But I've stopped trying to please everybody. I think that we need intense people that are out there. If you can't handle an intense person, then you need to ask yourself why.
Right.
Why can't I handle that? And do I need to get thicker skin? Instead of blaming, say, Anthony, he's very intense, I can't even be around him. Why don't you ask yourself, well, why can't I handle that? Is he really that threatening to me? Or is it just I'm afraid my feelings are going to be hurt? I need to be careful. I try to encourage myself. I just want one golden nugget from every human interaction that I have. I don't care whether they're intense. I don't care whether they're a wallflower. I want one nugget from every interaction. And if I can walk away with a golden nugget from every interaction, I don't care how you show up. I really don't.
Excellent.
Glenn,
all right.
What do you think about that, Glenn?
Let yourself off the hook as far as being intense.
Well, I do not have any opinions, because I've been trying to figure out a way to get Bruce Ford into the conversation now, because it's about that time. So let me just bring in the man with the great man cave, but no sports to watch in it, Mr. Bruce Ford of Lodging Econometrics. Hey, Brucey boy, welcome to the
Gentlemen,
show.
how are you today?
Well, I'm a little bit intimidated because I always describe you as the most intelligent person that I know in the industry. And so I'm
Don't be that intimidated, Larry.
I know you're not talking about me.
I was about to say, let's just say that is not how I describe Bruce Ford. Bruce,
my biggest conundrum this morning was whether I was going to put black tape on all of my Tom Brady paraphernalia in my man cave before I came on today.
I see.
It's certainly a difficult time to be a Boston sports fan, but we're here for positive Friday, right?
I got to say, at least you have something to really focus your energy on right now. So you're just taking up all your Brady stuff and just sending it to Tampa. How's that work exactly?
Absolutely not. He was here for 20 years. He's one of my heroes. The guy was an amazing quarterback and will remain an amazing quarterback in the NFL. But unfortunately, he's not going to be a Patriot any longer.
Yeah.
Well, as a Jet fan, I'm a happy boy today. So maybe
You're happy he's out of the AFC East. I can see that.
all I know is that the Jets may never win another game, but at least the Patriots may lose a few more. So, Bruce, you're here. We want to hear something positive. Larry's been sharing us some great things of wisdom that we could actually use to better our lives. What are you doing right now to better the life of you and your family while staying 6 feet apart?
Well, I've enjoyed a lot of free streaming. I got to say that to me, people are able to step up that have platforms and are able to step up with inspirational content. It started on St. Patrick's Day. In New England, it is a holiday that we all enjoy. And unfortunately, we couldn't go out to enjoy it. So what did we do? We watched a live stream of the Dropkick Murphys concert, right? And then the next night, we watched a live stream of a Billy Joel concert. And then the next night, we watched something else. It is people that inspire you and trying to find ways to give yourself release, because as I heard you guys say, you do have to take a deep breath, because if you're not square physically and mentally, you can't help me right now. And everybody's going to need to take a deep breath. There's extra ones every morning when we wake up. For certain.
Right.
So I'm enjoying a lot of streaming services. Even now, for those of you that are having trouble with, hey, I got to cook, did you know that you can stream all of the French Chef from Julia Child for all of history?
Wow, that's a pretty good tip. I like that.
You want to learn to do her famous recipes? It's all available online.
That reminds me of the Saturday Night Live skit with Dan Aykroyd, where he cut himself and then started bleeding up all over the set.
Right. As is SNL. If you have an app on your phone or your smart TV, Saturday Night Live has every episode, every actor, everything going backwards. You can watch the Samurai Delicatessen with John Belushi from 1972 if you want. Okay, I mean all of that is available. Okay.
A little show note: Saturday Night Live began in 1975, but point still taken. I don't want to be accused of fake news here on our channel on Bruce Sports. So I got to fact check.
You know, I get inspired by sports, and as you can see, sports is very much part of my life. I'm extremely downtrodden that I can't watch live sports. So what do? NFL Game Pass, free through the end of next month. You can go online and see any football game from the history of video recording. It's available online. Go check it out. Yeah. You want to watch your team from last year, all the games they won? You can do it. You want to watch the Super Bowl from the last 20 years? You can do it. So some of these things are great releases, and we all have to have that release because we have to be positive and affirming to everybody that's around us, because just like you said, Larry and Anthony, everybody's watching. Yeah. So we have to be, positive, put the smile on, and if you can't, clock out, because you're of no help to me.
Yeah. Or to the circumstance either. But I want to just piggyback on that for 1 second. Anthony mentioned this earlier. There may be times, Bruce, when we need to take a knee or step out, and that's okay, but it's the environment that you do it in. Like, I've given permission to all of our managers. If you need to melt down, call me. Do it with me, not in front of the team members, not in front of a client, right? Because we all need it. I'd mentioned earlier that I was on the call with about 6 CEOs earlier in the week, and 2 of them who are very hardened and seasoned in the industry. One said, I had to step into the men's room, lock the door, and just have a meltdown because I didn't know what to even do.
Right.
And another one kind of confirmed that when I spoke to him later in the day. He said, I've been waiting for your call, but I've been too afraid to reach out. He said, because I knew that you were going to be able to encourage me and give me a little bit of direction. This is a guy whose company is about 3 times as big as ours, who I look to, right? You never know what's going on. And so we need to, this term has been totally bastardized, but you do need to find those safe spaces, those places where you've got a trusted, Anthony used his word earlier, a trusted advisor that you can go to who's not going to judge you, but who's going to be there to support you. And sometimes we need allies more than we need friends, right? Because friends are going to tell us what we want to hear. Allies are going to tell you what you need to hear. Does that make sense?
I had a friend recently. He called me up and he had a meltdown, and he was embarrassed by it. Not on the phone, but said, just so you know, I melted down this morning and I feel ashamed of myself. And I was like, what are you talking about? If you didn't melt down, you wouldn't be human. I mean, we all, maybe you don't melt down, but we all need to have the moment, have the safe space.
Yeah.
And again, I think that that's critical at this time. And like the picture behind you of John Wayne, right, with the American flag, that instills confidence in America. John Wayne was an actor, but there's something about the way he loved America and the way he went about his business. I was watching a movie with him a couple of months ago, and I'm just looking at him going, that is the coolest badass I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Right.
Forget about TV or not TV.
Right.
And we need those badasses to hold on to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has things that inspire them. Some people like to read books. Some people like to reread books they've already read. Great practice. I get inspired by great golf shots. So I watch Tiger Woods hit great golf shots sometimes because I say, you know what? He did that out of nothing.
Yep.
I can do this.
Well, but if you really analyze that, though, Bruce, he did that after doing it a million times before it and failing.
That's right.
He would not have hit that stroke. That swing would never have been there had he not gotten out there at 5 o'clock in the morning as a teenager swinging that damn club.
Right.
Right. And we don't look at that. We don't look at all the mistakes. What we like to look at the highlight reels.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a golfer. I don't follow golf, but I follow with martial arts. Right. In the UFC. And I go to these highlight reels, and some of these guys that I see fighting, I knew them before they were doing this. And I remember the mistakes that they made, but they persevered. They had tenacity. They had grit. And more than ever, tenacity and grit is what's going to get us to that next level. And one of the first podcasts you did, Glenn and Anthony, when this whole meltdown started to happen, is the word resilience came up to describe the hospitality industry. And I just got chills thinking about it. Like you guys, everybody on this, all four of us, we've traveled the world. And I've seen hospitality in other countries. Truly, there's something special about the hospitality that happens here that's different than anywhere else in the world. I mean, you get a great hospitable experience when you go to places like Bali, where the culture is it's about that. But I'm talking about resilience, where we can come back from the brink of disaster and still have a smile on our face and be willing to serve people. There's something so powerful about serving other people that I think it's been lost for a long time among many hotel companies and many hoteliers, that my hope is that we've all been humbled so much by this experience that when we come out of it, that true spirit of hospitality and service is infused into every nook and cranny of the industry again. We've all walked around these conferences and seen some of these pretentious hoteliers, right? They say, oh, what a jackass. Don't want to be around because they're so pretentious, right? I've seen some of the people humbled. I think humility and a sense of humbleness is very attractive and powerful. You can be humble and still be a strong leader.
Yep.
You know,
I agree.
I think
Anthony?
one of the things we were talking about, Glenn and I, is that everyone, it's been compressed, right? Larry, we've been compressed. Okay. Whereas you're the leader and then there's a housekeeper. Guess what? You're in no better situation than her right now. You don't have all the answers that she doesn't have. Right. You're in worse situation. And that's a good point. That's a good point because you have so much responsibility. So we're all compressed. And in one way, that's kind of a breath of fresh air that all this pretentiousness has gone away. And, when people say to me, it's like, you're a regular person when they meet me in the airport, or whatever, I'm like, I don't understand that. To this day, I don't understand what that means. I'm a regular person.
Right.
It's like, I'm no better, you're no better. And now we realize today, Bruce, same thing. Nobody's better than anybody today. We all need each other. I went into, my daughter is having, had a tooth issue that we had to solve. And we solved it. And I had to go to the pharmacy this morning. And I went in the pharmacy and there's two people behind the counter. One looked very nervous. Rightfully so, but she showed up to work because she had to. And I thanked her. I said, thank you for showing up today.
Yeah.
And then there was another young lady who's usually always popping off the walls, happy, happy, happy. And she was trying to put a smile, but she couldn't. And I said to her, it's okay. You showed up for work today. And she goes, I have no choice. She goes, I have to show up for work. I said, I understand that. And it's okay to be afraid. But you're here and you're doing what's right for your son. And I think that that's important. So whether it's the UPS man, the Federal Express man, the Amazon man, whoever or woman, whoever it is, if they're still on the job and they're still working, please say thank you.
That's a great point.
Not just the
Doing a
police
great
officers
thing
and the
there,
doctors and the
Anthony.
nurses who are
Delivering
critical to
compassion.
what we're doing, but
Delivering
every
compassion.
single person. We're in our house. So there was a thing that I posted the other day. It's the World War II, the Greatest Generation went to war for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're being asked to sit on a couch for them.
Right.
And those people that are out there fighting that fight, you've got to thank them.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
I've spent so much time over the last 2 weeks talking to my clients and my customers and really trying to enter the situation with a certain level of compassion, because you don't know what you're going to get on the other end of the phone, and you don't know what the quote needs are that these people have, but you're there with compassion to interview and to ask questions and see how you can be of assistance. And in many cases with our clients, I've heard some stories of still a lot of tremendous success out there in the industry. People who have narrowed the focus. We can't be everything to everybody. Even what Larry said before, there's some people I just can't, I'm not necessarily interested in interacting with them, but narrowing the focus, okay? If you think about what Arnie had to say yesterday, Mr. Sorensen did a video that really talked about the hospitality industry as a whole. And he's in a situation where he's a global hotel company, a global franchise company, a global management company. And when the people stopped showing up, everything went south very, very quickly. And they have to go into emergency reparations to deal with it. At the local level today, at the hotel companies and the hotel owners, there's going to be owners that will have instances of, we can't handle all these hotels right now. We need to make the decision on this third, the decision on that third, the decision on that third. Likely is the case. But there is opportunity out there, just in the same way that there is despair. There is opportunity, okay? There is not going to be a slowdown in such a way that we can't recover. It's not going to be a dramatic 10-month or 20-month event where we can't recover, okay? What we have right now is an instance of some fear, but you have to turn it around with the way that you can become positive. And some of that is just giving yourself the, quote, things that you like to do, put them in front. Give yourself that time during the day. Deliver with compassion. Smile. Think about things that you can do for yourself to look forward to.
Right.
Our routines have been thrown into the trash can, and we've now got to build a new one.
Right. Great point.
I got to ask you a question. We are being asked online, Larry, if you would be able to share your affirmations with people. If that's not practical or possible, perhaps you could tell us what some of them are and how people might be able to find them themselves.
Yeah, let me get to them. I will share. Some of them are hyper personal, and the ones that I can share, I'll do.
Fair enough.
Actually, there are a lot. I won't go through all of them. I'll tell you what I've got.
But if you say some are hyper personal, but is there a resource that people can find those sorts of things that you'll be able to share?
No, but just let me give you a couple of them, because here's what I do. Because I think we have to be intentional. I have about 10 affirmations, and I don't know, about 12.
Did you write them yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. I understand now.
I mean, some of them are picked up from other people. So the first one, as I said earlier, was I value my future self and circumstance more than my current self. I am a spiritual person. I say there's no power but God. I say that I believe my recipe of affirmations, prayers, and morning routine will work to transform my life. I say I'm taking the action I believe will work, and I'm actively participating in my life for growth. And I say that because I see a lot of passive participants in their life, where they'd be blown around like a leaf on the wind. I say this to myself: whatever I'm facing today, this is a good one. Whatever I'm facing today will only help me become a better person and leader tomorrow, but only if I let it. 10th one is I'm patient and kind with all I encounter. I have to do that. I have to remind myself of that, or I'll be that guy flipping you off on the freeway or trying to drive you off the road, right? So those are some of the affirmations. I've got rules of engagement. You know what I'll do? Why don't I do this? I will go through and I'll put this on my LinkedIn and Instagram.
Thank you.
stuff. So if you follow me in the next day or two, I'll post what those are.
Yeah, and I will also ask people to write your own. Look at yours, get inspiration from that. But this is about going into your safe place, thinking in your head, and writing it down for you. Mine are in my head. I don't share them simply because they're really personal to me and it's really important to me.
Yeah.
But if you reach out to me and you DM me, I'll share maybe one or two with you. But I'm not going to share it in an open forum. But they're really personal to me. I don't have 10. But I have two or three, actually three, that I literally, I would say you look at it in the morning, I probably look at them 3 to 4 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's really important to me. And the most important thing to me is be patient, be caring, and you're not that important. That is something that I say to myself almost on an hourly basis, especially in a crisis like this, that you have to be calm, you have to be patient, and you're not that important. Everyone around you is a lot more important.
And you're required to be compassionate to your bubble. Anthony, you mentioned you're home with your children on a regular basis. You know, obviously your bubble extends a little bit further to your employees, and how do you, interact with them. One thing I've seen a couple of companies doing is they have the Zoom or go-to meeting at the end of the business day, and let's have a cocktail hour. They do the Zoom or go-to meeting, and they get together with their employees, and they meet the dogs and they meet the kids, and they become more connected because they do that periodically.
Can I throw something out here? Just I've been on this quest for a long time to get leaders like us to change the vernacular, the language, because I believe that words have meaning, like we all do, and I think it's more important now than ever. What we try to do in our organization, take it for what it's worth, and I get that I'm not, like everybody else, but what we try to do is not call those people who work with us employees. We try to call them team members. The reason is this: if we call our employees, usually they will show up like employees. But if we are active and we call them team members, they will show up like team members. What does that mean? If you're on a team, we're all in it together. Some of the best ideas, the cost savings ideas that we've come up with here in the last couple of weeks have been from employees, team members. Had we not treated them like team members, like, hey, you've got a vested interest in this as well, they wouldn't have volunteered that because they were just an employee. The other thing is this: what we try to do is, anyway, I'll leave it at that, because just words have meaning, and I try not to call people customers, but clients. Why? Customers are transactional, and this is good, I think, especially for Glenn out there and Bruce, who you guys are basically offering services. But we don't want to call them customers, we call them clients. You use that word clients because clients are relational, customers are transactional. So during this time of turmoil, when we come back, let's come back stronger, let's come back smarter, and better to serve people.
Right. That's very true. And I try very hard to use that word. All week I've been saying I've lost nearly all my clients. I have no, I only have one more client left, but that will change because things will get better, and then everybody will want to do work again. But again, everybody, we just got to keep up that positive spirit, and there will be a way through all of this if you follow the advice that Larry is saying, if you hear the words that Anthony is sharing, and if you think about the feelings that Bruce is trying to communicate as well. I know we'll be successful in this. What else are you guys thinking?
I want to say something.
Down? Yes, sir.
I want to say something really quick. First of all, United States Air Force. All right, you can't see it, but United States Air Force. Okay,
I can see it.
It's made me everything. It's made me everything I am, and I want to talk to what you just said, Larry, about the mindset of we don't have employees, we have team members. And this is where this comes from for me. And you probably learned it here as well in the military. Mm-hmm. You're going into a serious situation. And the gentleman that fixed your Jeep, fixed your tire, that made sure that tire was on really, really tight, that you never met and was working maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. When you got up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you're a 4-star general, okay, you're depending on a private potentially to ensure that you can get out of harm's way real quick. And if there's a tire problem, that tire problem, that one little second that he didn't take to really tighten that screw may cost you your life. And that's why when we're talking about team members versus employees, if you don't have team members that are focused with you and on you and going in the right, they will cost you potentially your business and more. So it is absolutely critical to understand that mentality, because if you don't understand that your housekeeper cleaning 18 toilet bowls a day and right now in this environment is not more important than anyone, or is just as important as anyone, then I'd say go 4 years in the military and you'll learn that real quick.
I don't remember whether you and I have talked about this or not, because we've had so many conversations over the years. But it's similar to that in that, as we've said, so I was in the Green Berets. For those who don't know, it's one of the elite special operations forces. And I remember getting to my group, and pretty quickly, I thought I was all that in a bag of frickin' chips, right? And I remember calling a truck driver one day a pogue. Now, that's kind of a very derogatory term. It's personnel other than grunt. So it's kind of, I would made this derogatory comment towards them. And thank goodness. So here's the thing about Green Berets. We walk around with our hands in our pockets. We don't salute officers. We think that we're just above all of that, right? That's what I thought. And so I called this truck driver a pogue. And my team daddy pulled me aside. Thank goodness he didn't do it in front of everybody else. And he just jacked me up. And he said, listen, without that truck driver, without those riggers, without those cooks, we're not doing our job. For every guy on this 12-man team, there's 50 or 100 support people who are helping us complete the mission. We are all in this together. I don't care what rank you are. I don't care how much of a badass you are. We're all in this together. And if I see that again, guess what? That'll be the last time that I ever see that from you. And I'm so glad, because that, like, holy smokes. And it put things in perspective. I don't care now, particularly now, whether you're the CEO or you're the general manager or you're the executive housekeeper or you're a room attendant, we're all in this together right now.
I'm going to share one more story. Senior Master Sergeant Young called me in his office. He's leaning on the desk and he called me Tony. He goes, Tony, come here. I go, yes, sir. And I knew I was in deep trouble because he was my boss's boss's boss. Yeah. So I knew I did something wrong. And he goes, you know what, Tony? You're pretty good at your job. And yeah, you've won some awards, but you're not the most important person in the Air Force, believe it or not. There's people that fly the B-2, that launch missiles. What do you do, Tony? He knew exactly what I did. I said, I ensure that our reviews are given to the commanders on time. So personnel reviews, I typed them up. I made sure they were efficient. And Larry, you remember those personnel reviews? They were very important. Yeah. So I was really efficient. And he said, listen, you are efficient, you're good at your job, but believe it or not, there's other things going on in the Air Force. You're not the most important person in the United States Air Force, but you're important. And he goes, go back to work. Changed my life. Changed my life.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true, and I'll just shut up. I know I'm talking a lot, but I've got so many stories.
Oh, it's good. This is a great therapy session.
That's why we asked you to come on. That's why we asked you to come on.
I don't know whether this is true or not, but there is a story about President Kennedy walking through NASA shortly, because remember he said, we're going to put a man on the moon, right? And so he's walking through NASA before the first launch, and it's nighttime, and there's not many people there, and there's a guy sweeping the floor, and so the president walks up to him and starts talking to him and says, so we're like, what do you do here? And he says, Mr. President, I help put a man on the moon. He didn't say I sweep floors. He didn't say I clean. I'm the janitor. He knew what his role was in that organization. He helps put men on the moon, for crying out loud. And that's the way we need to look at every team member that we've got. They all play a critical role.
That just made me emotional, because I think that is so critical to understand that mindset.
Team makers make the dream. Team members make the dream work.
Today's Friday. It's the first Friday of this real intense, tense moment. I think this is the first of the most intense Fridays to come. Yeah. And we got to remember that.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's why it's important to say thank you to the person handing you your prescription in this time of need, because they showed up.
Yeah, I think Bruce has got a great point. It is, teamwork does make the dream work. And I'll just remind people, and I don't know how long we're going to go, but is this, that transformational leaders have to be master storytellers. We have to. If we're going to make a difference among our teams, we need to learn how to take them on the journey of understanding, like, here's what your role is really going to mean to the success of the organization. The era of command and control leadership, where you do it because I tell you to do it, it's done. It's done. We have to inspire people towards greatness, right? And that doesn't mean it's, you don't tell the truth. You've got to tell them why. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, and that's really important. I think if you tell them the truth, they got your back. When you start lying to them, and you're seeing right now, when you see the doctor, for what's his name, Dr. Fauci, the gentleman that
Fauci,
he calms a lot of people around me's nerves when he's on TV talking. He's giving us some information that we don't want to hear, but he's doing it in a very positive way. And Bruce, I want to apologize to you. I'm going to be honest. I can't hear you for some reason on my headset, so I'm waiting for them to recap so I can respond. So I love you, man. I'm not ignoring you. So I apologize. One of the things I like to do, Glenn, when you're ready to end this, if it's okay, is on our podcast we do something. Tell us something we don't know. But what I like to do is I like to do it differently because there's four of us. Bruce knows you well, and you know Bruce well. I know Larry pretty well, and he knows me pretty well. So I'm going to tell you something about Larry you don't know, and he's going to tell you something about me.
I love that idea. All right. I'm
going to go first.
Let's play this game.
First, go
for it, Anthony.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to help Larry out here.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what I know about you is think about when you were on my set. How many times were you on our set?
A bunch of times, but I don't know.
Right. Okay. So when you were on our set, I am sure that you saw something that either made you laugh or I did something that made you think twice. So bring that up. Embarrass me if you want to. I will tell you that for some reason, every single time Larry was on my set, for some reason, all of a sudden, all the females on the set were right next to him. I don't know why. But they all came out of the trailers. And they're like, when's Larry coming on? What time's Larry getting here? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I realized it's because Larry is tall and handsome. So, Larry, every time you were on my set, I had to really feel good about myself that day.
And every time, here's what I will share then. Every time Anthony came on, people would scurry away. What does that say? For crying out loud. Here's what I will say about Anthony, and I do think that people might take you as intense, but people respect that when you do it with feeling and love and care. Here's the thing that I think that people appreciate you. It may come across as intense, but what you demand is excellence, not perfection, but excellence, right?
Don't make me cry, bro. You're supposed to embarrass me. Thank you.
No, I think that we listen. I think I would just say that. I think that, but that scares people. That's why they're intimidated by the intensity, because sometimes people aren't willing to stand up and give everything they got. The Greeks call that arete. The pursuit of excellence in everything that we do, right? And how would we all be different if we pursued excellence in everything that we do?
Yep.
Thank you, brother.
That's true.
I love you very much. Thank you for saying that. So, Bruce, embarrass Glenn.
Well, we've done like hundreds of these things together, so it's hard to say that some of our stuff.
You say there's too many things, yeah.
But what I will say is, and I don't know if this will embarrass people, but Glenn is Glenn is not actually the best preparer for these podcasts. He actually hasn't given me an outline for our conversation in the 15 years we've done these things together once.
That's not true. I used to do a lot of time pretending to listen to what you wanted to talk about. I did do that for a while. So we had that going on. All right, it's true. I'm not that good at preparing. I really prefer to just kind of go for my gut and be in the moment. I'm just that kind of guy. And I do really appreciate Bruce Ford for putting up with me in that regard. And for all of you out there that take the time to do that. So about Bruce Ford, I'm gonna actually be nice. And what you don't know about this is I love giving this dude lots and lots of shit, especially when we're on stage and stuff like that. But he has been a guiding light for me as I've tried to build my business and career, which may be gone now, but I do appreciate that you've helped me along the way. He works really hard with me behind the scenes to not let me get stuck with bullshit, to tell me the way it really is, and to help set me on the path that he believes I will be most successful. I may not always agree with him, but I love the place that it's coming from, and I love Bruce Ford. And I love you guys too, for that matter.
I love you too, man. And
well, thank you, brother. And you know how much I love you and appreciate you. And I just want to thank everybody for doing this. We have hard days ahead of us, but we can do it together. And that's the most important thing that we need to understand.
All right, Bruce, back to you.
Yeah, I hope we can all stay safe. Everybody out there, heed the warnings you're being provided about staying in, and try and keep your bubble as closed as you can so that we can knock this baby straight out of the United States as fast as possible.
That's right. Larry?
Well, listen, I'm wearing a little lapel pin here today. It's the Special Forces crest, and the motto on it is "De oppresso libere," which is "free the oppressed." I think the timing of that is no better than right now. We have people in our industry, in our country, that are absolutely oppressed, right? My mission is to help, and I think it will be the same with everyone on this call, is to help free the oppressed. You know, whether it's our family members, whether it's our team members, whether it's our country. And that is not going to happen by us leaning back and just expecting it to happen. We have to be active participants in this. Go forth, do something challenging today, do something significant today.
And you know, a lot of people, military and civilian population, are kept basically apart. My children don't understand the military mentality because I'm not in the military since 1990. So now you're going to see some military operations. You're going to see some National Guard. Don't be afraid. That's what they're here for. That's why they train. They not only train to protect us from the enemy, they're here to protect us when we're in need. And so don't be afraid of that. Also, remember, your teachers are teaching from home when they have parents, when they have children that they're worried about. They're worried about the same thing that you're worried about, and they're teaching your children from home. So thank a teacher. Okay, I'm going to repeat it. Thank the nurses, the doctors, the Federal Express workers, the person at the pharmacy, the person that's giving you your toilet paper and your paper towels. Okay, we need them. Okay, embrace them. It's so important to me. And right now, I'm going to tell you right now, if I see somebody, I'm not leaving my house, but if I hear somebody being disrespectful to somebody that's helping them get through this, I'm going to out you, because there's no time for that. We've got to be respectful, and we've got to help each other, because those people that are out there have the same issues we're dealing with. Okay, just like every one of us on here, we have issues that you're dealing with, and so what? We'll deal with them. But it is important for us to come together. Larry made me cry. I wasn't expecting that, but I probably needed that. I needed to hear that, maybe.
Well, listen, both the president and I've heard other people, Fauci, return to or call this a war, right? It is a faceless war. It's not a war of country against country right now. But I can tell you this, having been around some of the most badass warriors for most of my life at this point, you don't win a war through hatred. You don't win a war through thinking other people. But the reason that these badass warriors go to war and are willing to do things that's unspeakable, that most of us would never even imagine, is because they love so deeply. They love their fellow citizens. They love their families. They love the American way of life. And what got us through World War II and the Great Depression is people rallying around this common spirit of what is America. This thing that's, and this can be positive, but this tendency to go political and politicize this thing about you are bad is wrong. Stop it. We need to come together. And I think that, I'll leave it on this. We have to love each other. And when you love each other, guess what? The joy is going to come through.
I can't agree with you more. And I'm gonna mention three names: Colonel Hallams, who's just passed away, who is one of my leaders; Colonel Kenning, who actually became a one-star general before he retired; and Colonel Wagner. Those three people and many more in the military changed my life. and I want to thank them for helping me. And now I'm going to try to repay them by doing what I need to do in this time, this time of need.
And I want to thank Colonel Sanders for introducing me to the love of fried chicken. So I got that.
I knew something was going to come.
What are you gonna do? I honestly do want to thank.
I'm going to call you. Can I call you an asshole?
What?
They're going to be explicit ratings.
I know. I know.
That was funny.
If we're live,
That
they're
was
not going
funny.
to cancel us. There's only bots working anyway anymore. So let me just say I want to thank HBO for sticking with me through this time. I want to thank the good folks at Red Roof who are sticking with me at this at this time, and I also want to thank the great folks over at Almost Hospitality who are working their best to stick with me at this time too, and good folks at Cintas who have been supporting both Anthony and I. Thanks for making it possible for me to keep my lights on. Sure, we're all making sacrifices out of here, and I cannot tell you all how much I appreciate you trying to make sure that me and my family remain safe. And that's the same we're all trying to do for each other, I hope, out there. So
please call upon Cintas if you need your hotel cleaned the right way after this disaster or during this disaster. They're supporting me. Also, Porcelanosa, they're a great company.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking more about them and how they're going to help you. So
yes.
You're exactly right.
And Porcelanosa does support my hotel design podcast, which still exists as of today. So please check that one out. We got Brad Friedmutter on, who did a lot of great designs for Las Vegas casinos. Too bad you can't see him anymore, but he designed them. So we got that going. And next week on Monday, we're going to put together a great crew. We've got Neil Locke, who's a purchasing agent. We've got David Messersmith from development. We've got third from buyer perspective. We've got Anthony, of course, and we also have, oh my God, I'm so sorry, whoever the fourth person is that I'm forgetting right now. I apologize, but that's going to be a bang up show. I've got we're going to get Sloan Dean on, the CEO of Remington Hotels, on next week, Anthony. I was just able to confirm that for one day next week. A lot of great people that you need to hear from, like the Dean at Boston University. So a lot of great shows coming up next week, the week after, and hopefully the week after that. Anthony, I know you want to say something else before we shut down.
I have a couple of surprises for you as well, my friend, but I'm going to keep them on the down low because they're really, really cool. And,
excellent. And
think about Feel Good Friday. It's a Feel Good Friday kind of thing.
Yes, next Feel Good Friday, we'll have Keith Kefjan on again. We'll probably have Bruce Ford back again, and other great people too. Larry Broughton, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and being able to show that even in this moment, there is good, there is love, and there can be success when we get to the other side of this.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Anthony. Go for it.
I'm just going to say thank you very much. And if you want to be on, let me or Glenn know. And we want to put as much information out there as possible, as quickly as possible. And we're committed to do this 7 days a week if we have to.
Right. And even though this is Feel Good Friday, we got to be with stuff next week. I promise not to call it Morose Monday. We will have to deal with stuff, but we'll try to make the best of it as we can. All right, we're all in this together. Have a great weekend. Have lots of drinks. I'm going to go out to the porch right now, rocking my chair, and enjoy those Depends that I got that Larry suggested I buy. See you guys next week.
All right. Out here. We'll see you.